All praise and glory to Yahweh, Bashem Shabbat Shem Kakodash. We give divine honor to the Apostle G. Master as well. Peace, blessing, salutation to Yakim out there, you Aqua tuning in, and you Israelite farmers that are scattered. This is Shaquaka Ra from GMS, Virginia. And I'm just going to make a lesson about this guy, Alafa. He's a Simeonite he's a so-called Dominican from the tribe of Simeon. He's a Dembo artist. You know, bros can look him up. But really, why I make this lesson, because it's been pondering, just sitting back thinking, about so-called Latinos, Hispanics. And I remember, growing up amongst Ephraim and Simeon. I always remember this thing with men having this straight long hair. And then you would think a lot of these guys had long hair, but then come to find out it's weave. Like, why I bring this up? Because this is this guy's real length of his hair. Because, people who actually been around the so-called Latinos, there's a lot of folly amongst so-called Hispanics and Latinos. A bunch of it. They do a lot of homosexual shit, a lot of feminine shit. Their ways are, pretty much what I'm saying. If you didn't know this truth, you would probably think these people to be real heathens. But again, truth has been coming out about them, that they are indeed the 10 tribes of Israel, the lost tribes, the outcasts of Israel, going back to 2nd Ezra, the 13th chapter. And you have the book. I just ordered 2 more books about Northern Kingdom. I think it's View of the Hebrews by Ethan Smith. And you have the similarities of the Israelites and the Indians. And then throughout these books, it tell you that these so-called Latino, Hispanic, Native Americans, the so-called Mayans, they are of the stock of Israel by their rituals, their customs, and how they acted. And pretty much what I'm saying, they were similar. Pretty much when Esau evaluated them and studied them, their laws, statutes, and the commandments that they kept, they reminded them of the Mosaic laws. It's not a coincidence. But back to the point is, growing up amongst Simeon, it was like to keep this, to have this some type, this Latino look thing. And even me, at one time I was guilty of it too. A lot of guys, they perm their hair. A lot of Latino women, they you can forget about it. But a lot of these guys, they perm their hair and they put weave in it. Now, I just seen a video of this guy not too long ago. And I'm gonna just scroll down so you can see. Hold on real quick. Go to the video. Trying to show what I'm talking about. En el vuelo directo para allá. En el vuelo. There you go. Directo para allá. Para Singapur, para Singapur, para Singapur, vamos para Singapur, para Singapur, para Singapur, para Singapur, vamos para Singapur, para Singapur, para Singapur. Ellos están chapeando a nivel internacional. La tengo para hacer los papeles, para chapear y papelarla. Doggy, doggy, dog, llegan los perros. Regalando leche como los becerros. Mi abuela me dijo que nada. You get my point. You see that his hair. He has however many braids he has in his hair. And it's very long. As opposed to the picture I just showed you of him. Of this post right here. And pretty much the point is, this is very popular amongst so-called Latino men. And I remember the last time I even went to the islands, it was just a Simeonite that damn near looked like me, my complexion. And I looked at his cornrows and I looked at the ends of his, his shit was long as hell. I'm like, yo, is that nigga's real hair? I'm like, yo, man, that shit weave. Shortly to behold, that's what it was. And again, bring forth the scriptures. Proverbs 13 and 14, because one thing, growing up amongst so-called Latinos, man, they have been stripped completely of who they are, and they're lost. And again, you can go on YouTube and look at different videos about how they are suffering, and of a identity crisis as well. Because even amongst them, they have the high yellow, the high complexion, all the way to the dark. Like the scripture say, Ephraim is a cake not turned. And amongst them, and throughout, the Northern Kingdom tribes, is a big confusion of who they are. Basically, a confusion of faces. They don't know who they are. Again, the law of the wise is a fountain of life, to depart from the snares of death. Salaki, there's no wisdom amongst the Northern Kingdom. It's very few. Pretty much what I'm saying is, when, you pretty much had more of a sense of, what's the word I'm trying to say? When you go amongst Judah, you had more of a sense of identity, of searching one and finding one, opposed to Northern Kingdom. They just Dominican, that's it. And that's what it is. I'm Puerto Rican, that's what it is. And it's just standard, and it's this culture that's just deaf. It says the laws of the wise are the fountain of life, to depart from the snares of death. And a lot of the so-called Latinos and Hispanics, one thing they're not going to depart from is that fucking Latino culture, which is nothing but death. You look at, again, he's using guys like Alafa, Bad Bunny, those new artists amongst, merengue, dembo, and I believe reggaeton. And what they're doing is they're broadcasting pretty much death. So it's a good understanding, give a favor, but the way of transgressors is hard. Every prudent man, and it's kind of funny that they make these niggas look like they're hard and tough. The word Alafa means alpha. But again, when you look at this nigga and really look at his characteristics, this nigga is not alpha at all. He pretty much again goes back to when he's he's a created player. He said every Buddha man dealeth with knowledge, but a fool layeth open his folly. You know, so and that's what so-called Latinos do. They lay open their folly. Again, you go to Dembo, and that's a upright. It's not new. It's been out there for decades, but it's growing and it's becoming popular. Even here in Richmond, Virginia, you have Northern Kingdom, Ephraim, Simeon, that'll go down the street bumping the hell out of it. They suit their cars up with those systems, and you hear that shit bumping loud as hell going down the street. But the thing about it, when you look at it, it's just a bunch of fucking folly. Bunch of men that are homosexual, painting their fingernails, hair all long, weaved, weaved out. Woman just shaking, the so-called Dominican, Puerto Rican woman that they're just shaking their ass half naked, and that's what goes on. Proverbs 14. Let me see. Yeah, 14:16. A wise man feareth and departed from evil, but the fool rageth and is confident. The kingdom is confident in their foolish way, in their evil way. You know, Ephraim and Simeon, and this is mainly pretty much on Simeon and Ephraim, but they're confident in that Latino culture. Yeah, um, they're very confident in the Puerto Rican flag and the Dominican flag in those parades. He that is soon angry dealeth foolishly, and a man of wicked devices is hated. The simple inherit folly, but the prudent are crowned with knowledge. There you go. Proverbs 15:19. Matter of fact, start at verse 21. Folly is joy to him that is destitute of wisdom, and that is Northern Kingdom to the complete T. So they run around. A lot of them are racist. Like as the scripture says, they magnify themselves against Judah, the so-called blacks. They act like they have nothing to do with them. They act like they're so much better. They act like they got some type of leg to stand on. They act like he loved them. But hey, you're in the worst boat. You're in the same boat as the so-called blacks here in America and in your country. He hates you. He stripped you of your nationality. He took your land from you. He sets drugs up. He taught the world that you're a criminal, you're a thief, you're a drug dealer, you're a drug user. And here it is. In the same time, you lay open folly, and then you have this hatred that towards the so-called blacks, as if you're any better. You don't know who you are. You're lost. You so-called Puerto Ricans, so-called Dominicans and Cubans, you're lost. You don't know who you are. You don't know where you come from. He said, but a man of understanding walk uprightly. And they damn sure know the kingdom damn sure don't walk uprightly. I remember I went in a social media group chat and amongst Ephraim, and there was one Ephraimite that said, yo, we're of the tribe of Ephraim, the stock of Ephraim. Did anybody respond? No. Backlash. A couple more and then I'm going to end it. Proverbs 17. Yeah, let her bear first. Proverbs 17 and 12. Let a bear rob the hope helps me, a man, rather than a fool in his folly. There you go, man. You know, a lot of times you know, a lot of times you don't even want to deal with Northern Kingdom. They're just fucking deprived of any wisdom. You know, they're fools. They're heavy into folly. I'm be honest with you. You know, a lot of times I kind of don't want to deal with them, deal with Northern Kingdom, because again, they're nothing. They're no different than the so-called blacks here in America. You know, no different. Oh yeah, yeah. Ecclesiastes 10:6, folly is set in great dignity, and the rich sit in a low place. So they take guys like El Alpha. They take guys like Bad Bunny. They take guys like 6ix9ine. They take others, you know, that that are simple as hell, and they're set with great dignity. And here it is, the people, the those Northern Kingdom that, because you have Northern Kingdom men that are out there teaching on the highways and the byways amongst all the Northern Kingdom tribes. But do they get attention? Are they set, in a great place? No, they're pretty much shunned. And what's one of the, one thing that Northern Kingdom don't like is the fact that when you tell them that who the word we call Jesus Christ is a so-called black man, they envy and despise that, because in their head, that's what they think is the greatest, the so-called white man, you know? So those Northern Kingdom, they pretty much look at them like sellouts and traitors. And amongst Northern Kingdom is a bad rep. They get a bad reputation if their daughters or their men deal with a so-called black woman or a so-called black man. You know, so when those brothers that are out there amongst the Northern Kingdom that are on the highways and the byways and they're teaching, when they see that image of Jesucristo and they prove that he's a so-called black man, they automatically be like, yo, this nigga's crazy. That nigga's crazy. He's bugged out. He's bugged out. Because, they got this term that they call so-called blacks, pietemonos, black monkeys, man. You know? There's one more, then I'm going to end it. 1 Corinthians 11:14. Do not even nature itself teach you that if a man have long hair, it is a shame unto him. A man is not supposed to have long hair. But amongst Latino men, they put that weave in their hair. Even is a guy named Mozart La Plata, and he has very long hair, and his hair is actually real and it's straight. You know, I remember he has certain videos where he has it in a lot of feminine styles. There was something else I can't remember now. But that's pretty much it. I'm going to close it out. Lord willing, I'll edify. Shalom.